Hi, I'm Angel Hamric, and this is my genre project. I decided to do my genre project on fantasy books. I chose fantasy books because they are one of my favorite types of books to read. For me, it is easy to open up my imagination while I'm reading this. It is also easy to picture what's going on in the book inside my head because of the descriptive terms that the author uses in his or her writing. I decided to focus on plot during this genre project. Plot is very important. It usually involves elements that are not possible in the real world. It usually has plenty of action, and sometimes it's followed by a good deed. It also sometimes entails good versus evil. Sometimes this is very hard for people to deal with, the good versus evil. Some people don't like it, and it does cause a lot of controversy in certain books. But to me, it is a very good thing because usually the good always wins. Now, I've decided to focus on a couple of books during this, and I'll read a little bit of them to you. One of them is Gingerbread Friends. I like this because this is one of the ones where what usually happens could not be possible in the real world. And with this one, the gingerbread baby decided to go look for his own friends. He wanted to find some new friends because he was lonely. He came across this bakery and he couldn't really understand why the other cookies and whatnot in the bakery wouldn't talk to him. And he is in turn chased by different animals in this book, kind of like the story of the gingerbread man. So, and at the end, he finally does find friends. As an extension activity to this book, I would use it and have the children make their own gingerbread friends. We would use pre-made gingerbread cookies, and I would let them decorate it with frosting, candies, or whatever. And then after we do that, they can name their friend, tell a little bit about them, and then of course we would be able to eat them. Another book I've chosen to focus on is A Good Night for Ghosts by Mary Pope Osborne. It's one of her Magic Treehouse books. In this book, Jack and Annie, the two main characters, hop in their treehouse and are transported back to 1915 New Orleans. It's their mission to find Louis Armstrong and help bring his music to everyone. And as we all know, Louis Armstrong was a very, very talented singer and musician. Well, he's busy doing other things, and so Jack and Annie decide to enlist the help of some ghosts around New Orleans to help them talk him into bringing his music to life and to people around. As an extension activity for this, I would have the children write about where they would go if they had a magic tree house. They would have to tell where they would go and why, and tell about the place that they've been or the time that they went back to. And to me, that's a good extension activity. This book also comes with a research guide called Ghosts, and it talks about what people think ghosts are. It talks about ghost stories, and it even mentions some places that people believe to be haunted. And again, talking about controversial issues, that could also be a controversial issue because some people don't. People tend not to believe in ghosts, and people tend to think that they are evil. So yet again, you could run into some controversy using these books. Another book I decided to focus on. This one is called Fang. It's by James Patterson. It's part of the Maximum Ride series. In these books, there are a group of 6 kids that have been genetically altered with birds, and they have wings, so they're able to fly around. In it, people the scientists tend to try to hunt them down to experiment on them, and in turn that would destroy them. So in this book, I decided to read just a little bit of it because it kind of grabs your attention. And in each one of these books, if you haven't read the first one, you have missed out on a good deal of it. But it does go back and tell you a little bit of the background of the book and a little bit of background of these kids. So you don't completely miss everything, but you do miss a little bit. But I'm going to read just a little bit of this story. It says, I'm a girl of extremes. When I love something, I'm like a puppy dog without all the licking. When I'm cranky, I'm a wasp, like a whole hive of them. And when I'm angry, I'm a mother bear with a predator after her cubs. Dangerous. I say this because lately my life seemed to be all about extremes. Like right now, for instance, I was soaring 20,000 feet in the air with the 5 people I love most in the world. And no, we weren't on a plane, hang gliding, or in a hot air ballooning. We prefer to use good old-fashioned wings. The technology's been around for eons. If you've ever dreamed you could fly, I can confirm that it's all that and better. Even if you're desperately flying through a subway tunnel to save your life, it's still off the charts. But today, flying over Africa, it was as good as it ever gets. Maybe the best part was that for the first time in a dog's age, we weren't on the run from madmen. We were on a mission to do good. So, this book not only talks about the kids and what's going on in their lives, but it also introduces or brings about some other countries or some other places that the kids might not be real interested in at first, and it talks a little bit about them, and maybe that will pique their interest in learning more about the countries. As an extension activity for these books, I would use these and maybe let the students pick out their least favorite part, maybe even their favorite part of a book. It could be a chapter, it could be part of a chapter, and let them change it up a little bit. Let them tell what they would have wrote, how they would have done it differently to change the book to make it better. So, but I encourage them to read all of this series. I have read all of them, and they are very good. Another thing that I like about the Maximum Rhyme book is there is, in most of the books, there is a list of discussion questions at the end that can get you talking about the book. So this book could be used as a read aloud in the classroom. Also, for those kids who do not like to really read novels, James Patterson also has graphic novels and manga books that go along with his series. And again, this is Angel Hamric. Thank you for listening to my genre project on fantasy.